What if the most critical ingredient for guaranteed success wasn't an elusive stroke of luck or an inborn genius, but rather an unwavering force within you, a steadfast refusal to be defeated that could be deliberately cultivated? Many believe achievement is reserved for the uniquely talented or the exceptionally fortunate. Yet, history and modern science reveal a different truth. The power to persist, to rise after every fall, and to maintain an unshakable resolve in the face of adversity is the true hallmark of those who achieve lasting greatness. This journey is about forging that very quality within yourself. We will explore the profound capacity of your mind to develop an unyielding persistence, transforming your approach to challenges and equipping you with practical strategies to build a truly unshakable mindset. You are about to discover that the ability to guarantee your success is not about avoiding obstacles, but about cultivating the inner strength to overcome them every single time. Unshakable Mindset, Cultivating Persistence that Guarantees Success, written and published by Brainpower Blueprint. Chapter 1. Breaking Mental Barriers. Imagine an invisible fence, an unseen barrier that confines a powerful animal to a small enclosure, even though it possesses the strength to easily leap over it. This animal is unaware that the limitation is not physical, but purely a construct it has accepted. In much the same way, many of us live within self-imposed mental barriers, limiting beliefs, deep-seated fears, and negative self-perceptions that effectively cap our potential and prevent us from cultivating the persistence needed for significant success. You might aspire to ambitious goals, yet find yourself repeatedly held back by an internal voice that whispers, "You're not smart enough, you don't have what it takes, you'll probably fail anyway," or "People like you don't achieve things like that." The problem is that these mental barriers, often erected unconsciously from past negative experiences, societal conditioning, or misinterpretations of failure, become formidable obstacles to progress. They create a landscape of perceived limitations that can stifle initiative, erode motivation, and make the very idea of persisting through challenges seem daunting or even pointless. This internal prison of self-doubt and fear prevents you from accessing your true capabilities and building the unshakable mindset necessary to achieve what you truly desire. The transformative solution is to embark on a journey of creating your mental fortitude blueprint, a systematic process of identifying, confronting, and dismantling these internal mental barriers to unleash your innate capacity for unwavering persistence and achievement. This means becoming an intrepid explorer of your own mind, courageously shining a light on the shadowy beliefs and fears that have held you captive, and then strategically breaking them down one by one. The core idea is that these barriers, no matter how solid they may feel, are not immutable realities but learned constructs, and anything learned can be unlearned or reconstructed. By systematically breaking these mental barriers, you liberate vast reserves of energy, creativity, and determination that were previously suppressed. The benefits are a profound increase in self-belief, a significant reduction in fear and self-sabotage, a greater willingness to embrace challenges, and the cultivation of a resilient, persistent spirit that forms the bedrock of an unshakable mindset. It's like the powerful animal finally realizing the fence was never truly a barrier, only a belief, and then stepping into the vast, open territory of its true potential. The first crucial step in breaking mental barriers is identifying your core limiting beliefs and assumptions. These are the foundational, often subconscious convictions that shape your perception of yourself and the world, acting as the bedrock of your mental barriers. Ask yourself, what are my deepest fears when it comes to pursuing my goals? What negative statements about myself or my capabilities frequently echo in my mind? What assumptions do I make about what's possible for me? Perhaps you believe you're inherently unlucky, or that success requires sacrificing happiness, or that failure is a sign of personal inadequacy. Write these down without judgment. For example, if you consistently avoid leadership opportunities, an underlying limiting belief might be, "I'm not a natural leader," or "If I lead, I'll be heavily criticized." This identification works because it brings these powerful, often hidden drivers of your behavior out of the shadows and into conscious awareness, where they can be examined and challenged. You cannot dismantle a barrier you cannot see. Once a limiting belief is identified, the next vital action is to systematically challenge and deconstruct its validity. Treat these beliefs not as facts, but as hypotheses that need to be rigorously tested. For each limiting belief, ask probing questions. Where did this belief originate? Is it based on objective, verifiable facts, or on past interpretations, isolated incidents, or the opinions of others? What evidence exists that contradicts this belief? Can I find examples in my own life or the lives of others that demonstrate this belief isn't universally true or is an overgeneralization? What is the cost of continuing to hold on to this belief? How does it limit my actions and my potential for persistence? For instance, if your belief is I'm terrible at public speaking, challenge it by recalling any instance, however small, where you communicated effectively, or by acknowledging that public speaking is a skill that can be learned and improved with practice, not an immutable trait. This deconstruction works because it exposes the often flimsy foundations of many limiting beliefs, revealing them as outdated constructs rather than unshakable truths, thereby weakening their hold over you. A powerful technique for breaking through fear-based mental barriers is to practice gradual exposure and fear dissolution techniques. Fear, especially the fear of failure or judgment, is a primary component of most mental barriers. Instead of avoiding what you fear, which only strengthens the fear, systematically expose yourself to it in small, manageable steps. If you fear rejection in sales, start by making low-stakes calls or practicing your pitch with a supportive colleague. With each small success, your confidence will grow and the fear will lessen. You can also use cognitive techniques to dissolve fear. For example, catastrophic deconstruction involves taking a fear to its worst imaginable outcome and then realistically assessing its likelihood and your ability to cope, often revealing the fear to be overblown. Mindfulness can help you observe fearful thoughts without getting consumed by them. This approach works because it retrains your brain's fear response through experience, demonstrating that you can handle the feared situation and that the anticipated negative outcomes are often far less severe than imagined. Each successful exposure chips away at the fear barrier. To build initial momentum and confidence in breaking barriers, it's crucial to engineer and celebrate small wins over perceived limitations. As you begin to challenge your limiting beliefs and fears, set yourself up for small, achievable successes that directly contradict those old barriers. If you believed you weren't disciplined enough to exercise, start with a commitment to a 5-minute walk daily. When you achieve this for a week, consciously acknowledge it as a victory, as evidence that your old belief about your lack of discipline was inaccurate. These small wins are incredibly important. For example, if your mental barrier is a fear of networking, a small win might be initiating one brief conversation at an event. Each small win serves as tangible proof of your ability to overcome your self-imposed limitations and builds the self-efficacy needed to tackle larger barriers and persist in the face of greater challenges. This works because it creates a positive feedback loop. Success breeds confidence, and confidence fuels further action and persistence, gradually eroding the old mental constructs. Consider Marcus, who had a deep-seated belief that he was not intelligent enough to pursue a more technical career path, despite a quiet interest in it. This belief was a significant mental barrier. He started by identifying it. He then challenged it. Where did this come from? A few struggles in a high school math class. Is that definitive proof? Haven't I learned complex things since then? He practiced gradual exposure by enrolling in a very basic online coding tutorial, committing to just 15 minutes a day, a small win. When he completed the first module, he celebrated it as evidence that he could learn technical concepts. As he progressed, each small coding success chipped away at his old belief. His fear of not being smart enough began to dissolve as he accumulated proof of his learning capability. This process of dismantling his primary mental barrier opened up an entirely new career trajectory for him, one he pursued with growing persistence and confidence. Breaking mental barriers is the foundational work for cultivating an unshakable mindset. It's about clearing the internal debris of limiting beliefs and fears so that your natural capacity for persistence, growth, and success can be fully unleashed. It's an ongoing process of self-discovery and courageous self-redefinition. But once these internal walls begin to crumble, how do you ensure that the voice inside your head becomes your greatest ally in building and maintaining this newfound fortitude? Now that you've begun the courageous work of identifying and dismantling your primary mental barriers, are you ready to transform your internal dialogue? The very script that runs in your mind, from a source of doubt into a powerful engine of persistence and unshakable resolve. The next chapter will equip you with the tools to rewire your self-talk. Remember to subscribe to Brainpower Blueprint. Give this video a like and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 2. Rewiring your self-talk. Imagine you are on a challenging expedition, climbing a steep and treacherous mountain. Beside you walks a companion. If this companion constantly reminds you of how difficult the path is, how likely you are to stumble, how others have failed, and how inadequate your skills are, how would that affect your morale, your energy, and your will to persist? Now picture a different companion, one who acknowledges the difficulty but also highlights your strengths, reminds you of your training, encourages you after every stumble, and speaks with conviction about your ability to reach the summit. This ever-present companion is your self-talk, the unceasing stream of internal dialogue that comments upon and interprets your experiences. Having begun to break down your externalized mental barriers, it is crucial to address this internal architect of your mindset. The problem many people face is that their habitual self-talk is predominantly negative, critical, and defeatist. This inner voice can act as a powerful antagonist to persistence, constantly undermining confidence, magnifying obstacles, and whispering reasons to give up. Even if you consciously desire an unshakable mindset, a relentlessly negative internal critic can erode your resolve from within, making every challenge feel harder and every setback feel more personal and definitive, thereby sabotaging your ability to cultivate lasting persistence. The transformative solution is to engage in the persuasion power of inner speech, a conscious and systematic process of identifying, challenging, and intentionally reshaping your self-talk to become a consistent source of encouragement, resilience, and unwavering support for your goals and your journey of persistence. This means becoming the deliberate director of your internal narrative, transforming your inner critic into an inner champion who actively fuels your determination and belief in your ability to overcome obstacles. The core idea is that your self-talk is not an unchangeable reflection of reality, but a learned mental habit that powerfully shapes your perceptions, emotions, and actions. By learning to rewire this inner speech, you can cultivate an internal environment that consistently fosters persistence, positivity, and an unshakable belief in your capacity to succeed. The benefits are a significant increase in self-confidence, a greater ability to maintain motivation during difficult times, enhanced resilience in the face of adversity, a more optimistic outlook, and a profound strengthening of your overall mindset, making you far more likely to persist until you achieve your goals. It's like transforming that discouraging companion on the mountain into your most steadfast and inspiring guide. The first essential step in rewiring your self-talk is to become a vigilant monitor of your inner dialogue, specifically catching self-sabotaging and defeatist narratives. You cannot change self-talk that you are not consciously aware of. Throughout your day, especially when you are facing a challenge, feeling stressed, or have experienced a setback, pay close attention to the specific words and phrases that run through your mind. Are you frequently telling yourself things like, "This is too hard for me. I'm probably going to fail. I'm not good enough for this. What's the use in trying?" Or, "I always give up." These are examples of self-sabotaging talk that directly undermines persistence. When you catch such a thought, don't immediately judge it or try to suppress it. Simply notice it and perhaps even mentally label it. "There's that defeatist thought again," or "That's my inner critic predicting failure." This act of noticing works because it creates a moment of separation between you, the observer, and the thought, allowing you to see it as a mental event rather than an absolute truth, which is the crucial first step towards changing it. Once you become adept at identifying these negative internal statements, the next critical action is to systematically dispute and reframe these defeatist narratives with logic, evidence, and a persistence-oriented perspective. Your negative self-talk often operates on unchallenged assumptions, exaggerations, and a pessimistic view of your capabilities. Actively question these internal pronouncements. If your self-talk says, "I'll never be able to finish this difficult project," dispute it by asking, "Is it absolutely true that I'll never be able to finish it, or does it just feel overwhelming right now? What specific evidence supports this never claim? Have I successfully completed difficult projects in the past, even if they took time and effort?" What would be a more realistic and persistence-supporting way to view this challenge? Then, reframe the statement. For example, the defeatist, "I'll never finish this," could be reframed to, "This project is challenging, and it will require sustained effort and a good strategy, but I am capable of breaking it down into manageable steps and persisting through each one." This process of disputation and reframing works because it injects rationality and a growth perspective into your internal dialogue, actively countering the negativity and building a more resilient and action-oriented inner voice. A powerful technique for proactively building persistence-fueling self-talk is to develop and consistently use persistence-priming affirmations and mantras. These are short, positive, present-tense statements that reinforce your commitment to persistence, your belief in your abilities, and your resilience. Unlike general positive affirmations, these should be specifically tailored to support your efforts to keep going when things get tough. Examples could include, "I am persistent and resourceful. I find ways to overcome obstacles. Every challenge I face strengthens my resolve. I embrace effort as the path to growth and success. I am committed to my goals and I do not give up easily. Setbacks are temporary. My determination is permanent." Choose affirmations that resonate deeply with you and feel empowering. Repeat them regularly, especially before starting a challenging task, when you feel your motivation waning, or after experiencing a minor setback. You can write them down, say them aloud, or repeat them silently. This practice is effective because consistent repetition of these empowering statements helps to reprogram your subconscious mind, gradually making persistence-oriented thinking your default internal response. Furthermore, actively use your self-talk to manage frustration and re-energize during difficult tasks. When you're in the midst of a challenging endeavor and feel frustration mounting or your energy dipping, your self-talk can either escalate the negativity or help you navigate through it. Instead of letting thoughts like, "This is so frustrating, I can't stand it," take over, consciously switch to more constructive and calming self-talk. You might say, "Okay, I'm feeling frustrated right now, and that's a normal response to a tough challenge. Let me take a few deep breaths and refocus on the next small step." Or, "This is where most people might give up, but this is where I build my persistence. I can take a short break and come back with renewed focus." This kind of self-coaching works because it helps you to acknowledge and manage difficult emotions without letting them derail your efforts, and it reinforces your identity as someone who can persist even when things are uncomfortable. It's about using your inner voice to regulate your state and maintain forward momentum. Consider an aspiring author, Maria, who frequently battled self-talk that told her, "Your writing isn't good enough, you'll never get published." This eroded her persistence. She began by catching these thoughts. Then she disputed them. Is it true it will never be good enough, or is it just not at a publishable standard yet? Don't all writers improve with practice and feedback? She reframed it. I am developing my skills as a writer with every page I complete. Rejection is part of the process, and each piece of feedback helps me grow. She created persistence-priming affirmations. I am a dedicated writer, and I persist through challenges to share my stories. When facing writer's block frustration, she would tell herself, it's okay to struggle with this scene. Let me try a different approach, or just write freely for 15 minutes to see what emerges. This systematic rewiring of her self-talk transformed her writing process from a source of anxiety into a journey of persistent effort and gradual improvement, ultimately leading to her finishing her manuscript. Rewiring your self-talk to champion persistence is a fundamental component of building an unshakable mindset. It's about transforming your inner voice from your harshest critic into your most steadfast supporter, ensuring that even when external circumstances are challenging, your internal environment is one of unwavering encouragement and belief in your ability to keep going. This internal fortitude is essential for navigating the inevitable ups and downs on the path to success. But what happens when those downs take the form of outright failure? How does an unshakable mindset, supported by positive self-talk, confront and even benefit from such experiences? Now that you are learning to cultivate an inner voice that champions your persistence, how do you transform your entire relationship with failure, turning it from something that shatters your resolve into a powerful catalyst that actually strengthens your growth and an unshakable mindset? The next chapter will explore how to embrace growth fully through the experience of failure. Remember to subscribe to Brainpower Blueprint, give this video a like, and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 3. Embracing Growth Through Failure. Imagine a child learning to ride a bicycle. There will be wobbles, scrapes, and tumbles, a series of failures before they achieve balance and confident motion. If that child, after the first fall, declared, "I'm a failure at cycling, I give up," they would never experience the joy and freedom of riding. Their persistence would be cut short. Similarly, in our pursuit of significant goals and the cultivation of an unshakable mindset, failure is not just a possibility. It is an almost guaranteed and indispensable part of the journey. You've started breaking mental barriers and rewiring your self-talk to support persistence. However, one of the most formidable tests of this emerging mindset is how you interpret and respond to outright failure. The problem for many is that failure often triggers a cascade of negative emotions: shame, embarrassment, self-doubt, and can reinforce limiting beliefs, causing them to abandon their efforts prematurely. They may view failure as a definitive judgment of their abilities or worth, a signal that they are not cut out for their aspirations. This perception turns failure into a dead end, a destroyer of persistence, rather than a crucial component of growth and eventual success. An unshakable mindset, however, requires a radically different relationship with failure. The transformative solution is to cultivate the Phoenix Protocol, a mindset that enables you to not only endure failure, but to actively embrace it as a powerful catalyst for learning, adaptation, and ultimately, for rising stronger, wiser, and more persistent than before. This means shifting your perspective to see failure not as a verdict, but as invaluable data, not as a source of shame, but as a mark of courage for having dared to try something challenging. The core idea is that within every failure lies a seed of growth, a lesson that, if extracted and applied, can significantly accelerate your progress towards your goals and build the very resilience that defines an unshakable mindset. By learning to fail forward, you transform setbacks from persistence killers into persistence builders. The benefits are a dramatic reduction in the fear of failure, an enhanced ability to recover quickly and constructively from disappointments, a more innovative and experimental approach to problem solving, and the profound wisdom and strength that only come from navigating and learning from significant challenges. You become like the mythical phoenix, which doesn't just survive the flames, but is reborn from them, more powerful than before. The first crucial step in embracing growth through failure is to normalize failure as an essential prerequisite for any significant achievement and an indicator of ambitious effort. Understand deeply that anyone who has achieved anything worthwhile has a history of failures, often many more than their successes. Failure is not an anomaly. It's a feature of the path to mastery and innovation. When you try something difficult, something that stretches your abilities or ventures into unknown territory, the possibility of failure is inherent. In fact, a complete lack of failure might indicate that you're not aiming high enough or taking sufficient risks to truly grow. Reframe failure in your mind as evidence that you are pushing your boundaries. When you experience a setback, instead of your first thought being self-recrimination, try to acknowledge, okay, this outcome wasn't what I aimed for, but it shows I was tackling something challenging, and that's where real growth happens. This normalization works because it strips failure of much of its negative emotional charge and its perceived power to define you. It becomes an expected part of the landscape, not a catastrophic event. Once you've normalized failure, the next vital action is to engage in meticulous lesson extraction, or failure CPR. Correct, proceed, reevaluate. When a failure occurs, after allowing any initial emotional dust to settle, approach it like a detective examining a complex case. Don't just move on or dwell on the disappointment. Dissect the experience to extract every ounce of learning. Correct. What specific aspects of your approach, strategy, or execution need correction or improvement? What went wrong and why? Be honest and objective. Proceed. Based on these corrections, what is the next constructive step? How can you apply what you've learned to your next attempt or a similar future situation? Don't let the failure paralyze you. Use it to inform your next action. Reevaluate. Does this failure provide broader insights about your goals, your methods, or even your underlying assumptions? Does it necessitate a more significant shift in strategy or perspective? This systematic analysis works because it transforms the raw, often painful experience of failure into structured, actionable wisdom. It ensures that the energy and resources invested in the failed attempt are not wasted, but are converted into valuable learning capital for future success and stronger persistence. A powerful principle for embracing growth through failure is to detach your ego and self-worth from specific outcomes. One of the primary reasons failure feels so devastating is that we often tie our sense of identity and self-esteem directly to the success or failure of our endeavors. If the project fails, I am a failure. If the business doesn't succeed, I am not a good entrepreneur. An unshakable mindset requires you to consciously separate who you are from what you do or achieve in any single instance. Your inherent worth is not diminished by a setback. Practice affirming your value as a person who is learning, growing, and courageously pursuing goals, regardless of the immediate outcome of any particular effort. You might tell yourself, this particular attempt did not succeed, but I am still a capable and resourceful individual. My worth isn't dependent on this single result. This detachment works because it protects your core confidence and motivation from the inevitable fluctuations of performance, allowing you to persist through failures without feeling personally annihilated by them. It builds emotional resilience. Furthermore, cultivate a fail-forward mentality by celebrating effort, learning, and iteration. Shift your internal reward system. Instead of solely celebrating successes, which might be infrequent when tackling big goals, also learn to acknowledge and even celebrate the effort you put in, the lessons you learned from a setback, and the courage it took to try something difficult. When an attempt doesn't work out, but you've gained significant insights or refined your approach, recognize that as a form of progress, you've failed forward. This means you are closer to your goal than you were before, because you've eliminated one path that doesn't work and gained knowledge. For example, in innovation-driven fields, teams often celebrate intelligent failures, well-executed experiments that yield valuable negative results, because these results inform the next, more promising iteration. This approach works because it reframes the entire process of striving, making learning and adaptation themselves rewarding, which fuels ongoing persistence even when conventional success is elusive. Consider an inventor, Sarah, working on a new sustainable energy device. Her first dozen prototypes failed to produce the desired output. With each failure, instead of giving up, she normalized it. This is how invention works. Each non-working design tells me something important. She meticulously applied failure CPR. She analyzed why each prototype failed. Correct. Used those insights to design the next iteration, proceed, and periodically reevaluated her core assumptions about the technology, reevaluate. She detached her ego, focusing on the scientific problem rather than her personal success with each specific design. She celebrated the learning from each failed test. Okay, that material doesn't work, but now I know why and can try something else. This embrace of growth through failure allowed her to persist through countless setbacks, eventually leading to a breakthrough design. Her persistence wasn't born from avoiding failure, but from expertly learning from it. Embracing growth through failure is fundamental to building an unshakable mindset because it transforms your greatest perceived enemy into your most powerful ally. It builds not just resilience, but anti-fragility, the quality of actually becoming stronger because of the stresses and setbacks you encounter. This ensures that your persistence isn't just stubbornness, but an intelligent, adaptive force driving you towards guaranteed success. But how do you translate this resilient, growth-oriented mindset into consistent daily actions that build the muscle of grit? Now that you've reframed your relationship with failure, turning it into a powerful engine for growth and resilience, how do you cultivate the daily habits that systematically build the raw muscle of grit and determination, ensuring your persistence becomes an automatic and defining characteristic of your unshakable mindset? The next chapter will explore the art of building daily grit habits. Remember to subscribe to Brainpower Blueprint, give this video a like, and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 4. Building Daily Grit Habits. Imagine a marathon runner. Their ability to cross the finish line after hours of grueling effort isn't solely the result of a single burst of inspiration on race day. It's the culmination of countless daily habits of training, pushing through discomfort, and consistently showing up, even when they didn't feel like it. This consistent, disciplined effort, repeated over time, is the essence of grit. You've begun the journey of transforming your mindset by breaking mental barriers, rewiring your self-talk, and embracing growth through failure. Now, the crucial step is to translate this evolving inner landscape into tangible, daily actions that specifically cultivate the quality of persistence and determination, the very sinew of an unshakable mindset. The problem many people face is that while they may understand the importance of persistence conceptually, they lack the practical daily routines and habits that systematically build this grit muscle. Good intentions to be more persistent can easily fade without a structured approach to actually practicing perseverance in small, consistent ways. This leaves their ability to endure challenges reliant on fleeting motivation rather than on a deeply ingrained capacity for sustained effort. The transformative solution is to engage in microgrit conditioning, which involves consciously designing and implementing small, consistent daily habits specifically aimed at strengthening your capacity for sustained effort, resilience in the face of discomfort, and unwavering commitment to your long-term goals. This means identifying or creating opportunities in your daily life to practice pushing your limits, embracing effort, and following through even when it's challenging, thereby building your persistence like a muscle that grows stronger with regular targeted exercise. The core idea is that grit and an unshakable mindset are not just innate traits, but qualities that are actively built and reinforced through deliberate, repeated actions. By incorporating these microgrit habits into your daily life, you make perseverance a practice skill, not just an abstract ideal. The benefits are a significant increase in your ability to stick with difficult tasks, a greater tolerance for discomfort and frustration, enhanced self-discipline, and a profound sense of self-efficacy that comes from consistently proving to yourself that you can keep going when things get tough. All essential components for guaranteeing success. It's like the marathon runner whose daily training runs, each one a small act of grit, collectively build the endurance needed for the ultimate race. The first essential step in building daily grit habits is to identify or create small daily opportunities to practice pushing through discomfort. Grit is largely about your ability to sustain effort in the face of challenge or boredom. Look for areas in your existing routines where you can intentionally stretch yourself just a little beyond your comfort zone. This doesn't have to be monumental. If you exercise, it might mean holding a plank for an extra 10 seconds or adding one more repetition to your set. If you're working on a mentally taxing project, it might mean committing to an extra 15 minutes of focused work when you feel the urge to quit. You can even create small, artificial challenges. Take a cold shower for 30 seconds, choose the stairs instead of the elevator, or deliberately tackle a small, annoying task you've been putting off. The key is the conscious decision to embrace a minor discomfort and see it through. This practice works because it repeatedly exposes you to the sensation of pushing through resistance in low-stakes situations, building your tolerance and proving to your brain that you can handle discomfort and still persist. A powerful strategy for cultivating grit through daily habits is the don't break the chain method for consistency. Popularized by comedian Jerry Seinfeld for his writing habit, this involves getting a large wall calendar, and for each day you complete your desired grit-building habit, putting a big X on that day. After a few days, you'll have a chain of X's. Your only job next is to not break the chain. This method is incredibly effective for building consistency in habits that require daily engagement, such as practicing a skill, exercising, or working on a long-term project. Choose one key habit that you know contributes to your long-term goals and requires persistence. For example, I will dedicate 30 minutes to working on my book manuscript every day. Seeing the chain grow provides a powerful visual motivator, and the desire not to break it can provide the extra push needed on days when motivation is low. This works because it leverages our natural desire for completeness and visual progress, making the act of showing up consistently feel rewarding in itself, thereby building the habit of perseverance. To seamlessly integrate grit-building actions into your day, effectively use habit stacking with a grit focus. This involves linking a new, slightly challenging behavior, your grit-building microhabit, to an already established daily routine, but with the specific intention of practicing perseverance. For instance, after I finish my morning coffee, existing habit, I will immediately tackle the most difficult email in my inbox, grit-building action, before moving on to easier tasks. Or, before I allow myself to check social media in the evening, a potential reward, I will spend 10 minutes tidying up my workspace, even if I don't feel like it. Grit-building action. The grit focus means you are consciously choosing a task that requires a bit of mental or physical effort that you might normally avoid, and you are committing to doing it consistently as part of that stack. This is effective because it embeds the practice of persistence into your existing daily flow, making it less likely to be forgotten or skipped, and it uses the momentum of an established habit to launch you into an action that strengthens your resolve. A crucial mindset to adopt while building these habits is to focus on effort and consistency over immediate results, and celebrate small acts of perseverance. When practicing your daily grit habits, the primary goal is not necessarily to achieve a perfect outcome in that specific instance, but to practice the act of showing up, exerting effort, and persisting, especially when it's not easy. If your grit habit is to practice a difficult musical piece for 20 minutes, the win is completing the 20 minutes of focused effort, even if you didn't master the piece that day. When you successfully follow through on one of these small commitments to persist, consciously acknowledge and celebrate that act of perseverance. I really didn't feel like doing that extra set of exercises, but I did it. That's building my grit. This internal acknowledgement works because it reinforces the value you place on effort and consistency, building your identity as a gritty, persistent individual. It shifts the reward from external outcomes to the internal satisfaction of self-discipline and follow-through. Consider Alex, who wanted to develop the grit to complete a challenging online certification course that he knew would boost his career. He often felt overwhelmed by the volume of material. He started by identifying a daily grit habit. I will study for this course for 25 focused minutes every weekday, no matter what. He used the don't break the chain method with a calendar above his desk. He stacked this habit. Immediately after my lunch break, existing routine, I will start my 25-minute study session, grit habit. He focused on the effort. My goal today is simply to complete these 25 minutes of focused study, regardless of how much I understand immediately. When he completed his 25 minutes, especially on days he felt tired or unmotivated, he would give himself a mental pat on the back for his persistence. This daily conditioning gradually built his capacity to sustain effort on a long-term, challenging goal, enabling him to successfully complete the certification. Building daily grit habits is about transforming persistence from an occasional heroic act into a consistent, practiced, and almost automatic part of your daily character. These small daily battles against discomfort and the urge to quit are where the true strength of an unshakable mindset is forged, one deliberate action at a time. This makes you not just someone who can endure, but someone for whom perseverance becomes a defining trait. But even with strong grit habits, we all face moments of deeper internal resistance that try to pull us off course. How do we conquer these more formidable inner obstacles? Now that you are laying the foundation of daily grit through consistent small actions, how do you tackle those more significant waves of internal resistance, procrastination, or overwhelm that can threaten to capsize even well-established habits and challenge your unshakable resolve? The next chapter will explore strategies for conquering inner resistance with clarity and conviction. Remember to subscribe to Brainpower Blueprint, give this video a like, and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 5: Conquering Inner Resistance. Imagine a powerful locomotive, its engine capable of pulling immense weight across vast distances. Yet, if its brakes are unknowingly engaged, even slightly, its progress will be sluggish, its power diminished, and its journey arduous, despite the engine's full potential. Similarly, as you strive to build an unshakable mindset and cultivate the persistence that guarantees success, you may find your forward momentum unexpectedly hampered by an internal brake, the subtle yet potent force of inner resistance. You've started breaking mental barriers, rewiring your self-talk, embracing growth through failure, and building daily grit habits. You understand what you need to do. However, the problem many individuals still face is that quiet, nagging reluctance, that feeling of, I know I should, but I just don't want to, or the sudden wave of overwhelm that makes even simple planned actions feel like climbing a mountain. This inner resistance can manifest as procrastination, perfectionism that prevents you from starting, fear of discomfort or boredom associated with the task, or a subtle self-sabotage that whispers doubts about your ability or the worthiness of the effort. This internal friction can stall even the most well-intentioned efforts to persist, draining your mental energy and making the path to an unshakable mindset feel like a constant uphill battle. The transformative solution is to develop a resistance dissolution framework, a set of mental strategies and practical techniques designed to systematically identify the roots of your inner resistance and then gently but firmly dissolve its power, allowing your natural drive and persistence to flow unimpeded. This means becoming adept at recognizing when resistance is active, understanding its underlying messages, often fear or discomfort, and then applying targeted approaches to lower its intensity and clear the path for action. The core idea is that resistance is not an insurmountable wall, but rather a signal, often a misguided protective mechanism, that can be understood, negotiated with, and ultimately overcome with clarity and compassion. By learning to conquer inner resistance effectively, you unlock a new level of consistency and follow-through, making it far easier to maintain your grit habits and strengthen your unshakable mindset. The benefits are a significant reduction in procrastination, increased productivity, less wasted mental energy battling yourself, and a profound sense of empowerment as you realize you can reliably move yourself to action, even when you don't initially feel like it. It's like learning to release those engaged brakes on the locomotive, allowing its full power to be expressed. The first crucial step in conquering inner resistance is to acknowledge its presence without judgment and cultivate curiosity about its origin. When you feel that internal pushback, that urge to avoid or delay a planned action, your first instinct might be to criticize yourself. Why am I so lazy? Or to try to brute force your way through it, which can often increase the resistance. Instead, pause and simply acknowledge the feeling. Okay, I'm noticing a strong sense of resistance to starting this task. Then adopt an attitude of gentle curiosity. Ask yourself, what is this resistance trying to tell me? What am I really trying to avoid by not doing this? Is there an underlying fear, of failure, of judgment, of discomfort, of boredom, of success even? Is the task unclear or does it feel too big? For example, if you're resisting working on a challenging project, your curiosity might reveal a fear of not being able to do it perfectly, or a feeling of overwhelm because you don't know where to start. This non-judgmental acknowledgement and curious inquiry work because it diffuses the immediate emotional charge of the resistance and begins to uncover its often hidden roots, transforming it from a nebulous negative feeling into a specific problem that can be addressed. Once you have some insight into the potential source of your resistance, a highly effective technique is the 5-minute rule, or even 2-minute rule, to initiate action. As discussed previously in other contexts, its power here is specifically for overcoming the inertia that resistance creates. The premise is simple. Commit to working on the resisted task for just 5 or 2 minutes. Tell yourself, I only have to do this for 5 minutes, and then I can stop if I want to. More often than not, the biggest hurdle is simply getting started. Once you've overcome that initial activation energy and are engaged in the task, the resistance often diminishes significantly, and you may find yourself willing to continue for much longer. For instance, if you're resisting your daily exercise habit, just commit to putting on your workout clothes and doing 5 minutes of warm-ups. If you're avoiding writing a report, commit to opening the document and writing just 1 paragraph, or working for 5 minutes. This works because it makes the task seem far less daunting, bypassing the overwhelm that fuels resistance. It focuses on the smallest possible step to get you moving, leveraging the psychological principle that action often precedes and generates motivation, rather than the other way around. Another powerful strategy is to break down overwhelming tasks into micro steps and focus only on the very next action. Resistance often thrives when a task or goal feels too large, too complex, or too far in the future. Your brain perceives it as a threat and puts on the brakes. To counter this, take any task you're resisting and break it down into the smallest, most concrete, and least intimidating steps imaginable. Then, consciously focus only on completing the very next tiny step, ignoring the enormity of the overall project for the moment. For example, if write a book feels overwhelmingly resistant, the first micro step might be open a new document and title it. Then write down 3 potential chapter ideas, then outline the first point of chapter 1. By focusing on these tiny, achievable actions, you build momentum and a sense of progress, which erodes the feeling of overwhelm. This technique is effective because it makes large tasks feel manageable and less threatening, reducing the anticipatory anxiety that often triggers resistance. Each completed micro-step provides a small dopamine hit of accomplishment, encouraging you to take the next one. Connecting the resisted action back to your core values and deeper purpose can often override temporary reluctance. Resistance frequently arises when the immediate discomfort of a task looms larger than its perceived benefit. In these moments, consciously remind yourself of why this task or habit is important to you in the larger scheme of things. How does it align with your core values, e.g., growth, contribution, discipline, excellence? How does it contribute to a meaningful long-term goal that you are passionate about? For example, if you're resisting the daily practice of a difficult skill, reconnecting with your deep desire for mastery in that field, or the positive impact that skill will allow you to have, can provide the motivational fuel to push through the immediate discomfort. You might ask yourself, even though I don't feel like doing this right now, is this action consistent with the kind of person I want to be and the goals I truly care about? This works because it taps into your intrinsic motivation, which is a far more powerful and sustainable force than fleeting feelings or external pressures. Your purpose becomes stronger than your resistance. Finally, always practice self-compassion, especially when resistance proves particularly stubborn. There will be times when, despite your best efforts, resistance wins a particular battle, and you don't follow through on a planned action. It's crucial in these moments to avoid harsh self-criticism or viewing it as a total failure of your unshakable mindset. This only strengthens future resistance and feelings of inadequacy. Instead, treat yourself with understanding and kindness. Acknowledge that resistance is a powerful and very human experience. Reassure yourself that one slip does not define you or negate your overall progress. Learn what you can from the experience. What made the resistance particularly strong this time? What could I try differently next time? And then gently recommit to your path. This compassionate approach is vital because it prevents a minor lapse from escalating into a full-blown abandonment of your goals. It preserves your self-efficacy and your willingness to try again, which is the essence of persistence. Consider Maria, an entrepreneur who often felt immense resistance when it came to making cold calls for her new business, despite knowing it was crucial for growth. She acknowledged this resistance and realized it stemmed from a deep fear of rejection. She applied the 5-minute rule. I'll just research and prepare for one call for 5 minutes. This often got her started. She broke the task down. 1. Identify one prospect. 2. Research their company. 3. Draft a brief script. 4. Make the call. She connected it to her purpose. My business aims to solve a real problem for these people, and each call is a chance to help them, even if they say no. This aligns with my value of contribution. If she had a day where the resistance was overwhelming and she made fewer calls than planned, she practiced self-compassion. Okay, today was tough. I did my best with what I had. Tomorrow, I'll try a slightly different approach to my pre-call ritual. This multifaceted strategy helped her consistently overcome her resistance and build a vital part of her business. Conquering inner resistance is a key skill in cultivating an unshakable mindset. It's about understanding that the path to persistence is not about never feeling reluctance, but about having the tools and the clarity to move forward anyway, transforming those internal brakes into launching pads for consistent, purposeful action. But what happens when the resistance isn't just internal, but the external pressure mounts, threatening to crack even a determined resolve? Having developed strategies to dissolve inner resistance and initiate action more consistently, how do you now ensure that your hard-won persistence holds firm and your mindset remains unshakable even when faced with intense external pressures, high-stakes situations, or overwhelming challenges? The next chapter will explore how to stay strong and maintain your resolve under pressure. Remember to subscribe to Brainpower Blueprint, give this video a like, and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 6. Staying Strong Under Pressure. Imagine a deep-sea diver descending into the crushing pressures of the ocean depths. To survive and function effectively, they rely not only on specialized equipment, but critically, on a calm, focused mind and an unwavering ability to execute procedures flawlessly despite the immense external forces. Similarly, in your pursuit of an unshakable mindset and the persistence that guarantees success, you will inevitably encounter periods of intense external pressure. Tight deadlines, critical performance expectations, significant life changes, competitive environments, or crises that demand your utmost resilience. You have been diligently breaking mental barriers, rewiring self-talk, embracing growth through failure, building grit habits, and conquering inner resistance. However, the true test of an unshakable mindset often comes when these external pressures mount, threatening to overwhelm your coping mechanisms and derail your persistent efforts. The problem is that intense pressure can trigger physiological stress responses that cloud judgment, amplify negative thinking, erode focus, and make even well-established positive habits feel difficult to maintain. The temptation to revert to less effective, reactive behaviors or to abandon long-term goals for short-term relief can become immense, potentially cracking the very foundations of your hard-won mindset. The transformative solution is to cultivate pressure-proof persistence, developing a robust set of mental and emotional strategies that enable you to not only withstand intense external pressures, but to actually maintain and even enhance your clarity, focus, and unwavering commitment to your goals during such times. This means learning to manage your internal state effectively regardless of external chaos, and to view pressure not as a force that breaks you, but as one that can temper and strengthen your resolve. The core idea is that while you often cannot control external pressures, you can learn to control your response to them, thereby preserving your mental fortitude and your capacity for sustained, effective action. By developing pressure-proof persistence, you transform potentially overwhelming situations into opportunities to demonstrate and further solidify your unshakable mindset. The benefits are a remarkable ability to perform effectively in high-stakes environments, reduce stress and anxiety during challenging periods, enhance decision-making capabilities when it matters most, and the profound confidence that comes from knowing you can maintain your course even in the fiercest storms, a true hallmark of guaranteed success. It's like the diver who, through training and mental discipline, navigates the crushing depths with calm expertise and unwavering purpose. The first crucial step in staying strong under pressure is to proactively reframe your perception of pressure and stress. Often, our negative reaction to pressure is amplified by our interpretation of it as a purely detrimental force. While chronic, unmanaged stress is harmful, acute pressure situations can also be viewed as opportunities for heightened performance and growth if approached correctly. Consciously shift your mindset from seeing pressure as a threat, which triggers a debilitating fear response, to seeing it as a challenge or an opportunity to excel, which can trigger a more adaptive, energizing stress response. Remind yourself that feeling pressure often means you are engaged in something significant and that you care about the outcome. You might tell yourself, "This pressure is a sign that I'm pushing my limits and that this task matters. My body is gearing up to help me perform." This reframing works because it changes your physiological and psychological reaction, helping you to harness the arousal associated with pressure for enhanced focus and motivation, rather than letting it devolve into anxiety and overwhelm. A vital technique for maintaining composure and clarity under pressure is to master tactical breathing and grounding techniques for immediate calm. When pressure mounts, your sympathetic nervous system often goes into overdrive, leading to a rapid heartbeat, shallow breathing, and clouded thinking. You can consciously counteract this by engaging your parasympathetic nervous system through controlled breathing. Practices like box breathing, inhaling for a count of 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, holding for 4, or simply taking several slow, deep diaphragmatic breaths can have an immediate calming effect. Grounding techniques, which involve bringing your attention to your physical senses, e.g., noticing the feeling of your feet on the floor, the sounds around you, the texture of an object in your hand, can also help pull your mind away from racing thoughts and anchor you in the present moment. For instance, a student feeling immense pressure before a critical exam might take 2 minutes to practice box breathing and then consciously notice 3 things they can see and 3 things they can hear. These techniques work because they directly influence your body's physiological stress response, reducing physical tension and creating mental space for clearer thinking and more deliberate action. Under pressure, it is essential to narrow your focus to process and controllables rather than dwelling on outcomes or uncontrollables. When the stakes are high, it's natural for your mind to fixate on the desired outcome, e.g., winning, succeeding, avoiding failure, and all the things that could go wrong that are outside your direct control. This often amplifies anxiety and paralyzes action. Instead, deliberately bring your focus back to the immediate step in the process and the aspects of the situation you can influence: your effort, your attitude, your preparation, your next specific action. Break down the overwhelming situation into the smallest manageable components and concentrate on executing each one to the best of your ability. For example, an athlete in a championship game, instead of worrying about the final score, focuses on executing the current play perfectly. A leader navigating a company crisis focuses on clear communication and the next right decision, rather than all potential future ramifications. This works because it provides a sense of agency and direction amidst chaos, allowing you to channel your energy into productive activity instead of dissipating it through worry. It keeps you grounded in actionable steps. Maintaining a long-term perspective amidst short-term intensity is crucial for preserving your unshakable mindset. Pressure situations can often feel all-consuming, making it seem as though the entire world hinges on this one moment. While acknowledging the immediate importance, try to also zoom out and place the current challenge within the broader context of your life and long-term goals. Ask yourself, in 5 years, how significant will this specific event truly be? What is the ultimate larger objective I am working towards? And how does navigating this pressure cooker contribute to that, even if the immediate outcome isn't perfect? This helps to right-size the pressure, preventing it from becoming disproportionately overwhelming. For example, an entrepreneur facing a critical funding pitch might remind themselves that even if this particular pitch doesn't succeed, their long-term vision for their company remains, and there will be other opportunities and paths forward. This long-term view works because it reduces the perceived finality or catastrophic potential of any single high-pressure event, fostering resilience and the ability to persist beyond immediate difficulties. Finally, engage in pre-planning for predictable pressure points and post-event analysis for continuous improvement. If you know a high-pressure situation is coming, e.g., a major exam, a product launch, a public performance, proactively plan for it. This includes not only thorough preparation of the content or skill, but also mental preparation. Visualize yourself navigating the pressure successfully, anticipate potential challenges and how you will respond, and plan your stress management techniques. After any significant pressure situation, regardless of the outcome, conduct a brief analysis. What went well in terms of your performance and your handling of the pressure? What was challenging? What did you learn that you can apply to future high-stakes moments? This cycle of preparation and reflection works because it treats your ability to handle pressure as a skill that can be systematically developed and refined over time, making you progressively more adept and confident in such situations. Consider a firefighter, Captain Eva Rostova, leading her team into a burning, unstable building. The external pressure is unimaginable. She stays strong by reframing. This pressure is a call to save lives. My training has prepared me for this challenge. She uses tactical breathing to maintain calm amidst the chaos. Her focus is entirely on the immediate process. Ventilate this section. Check for victims here. Secure that exit. She doesn't dwell on the multitude of things that could go wrong. She maintains a long-term perspective focused on her team's safety and mission success. Her pre-planning involves rigorous drills and scenario analysis. After every major incident, her team conducts a thorough debrief to learn and improve. This comprehensive approach allows her and her team to perform effectively and persist under the most extreme pressures imaginable. Staying strong under pressure is a hallmark of an unshakable mindset. It's about developing the inner fortitude to not just survive challenging circumstances, but to maintain your clarity, your focus, and your persistent drive towards your goals, no matter how intense the external forces may be. This capacity is what truly separates those who merely wish for success from those who achieve it consistently. But what happens when, despite your best efforts, a significant setback occurs? How does an unshakable mindset not only recover, but actually use that adversity as a source of even greater strength? Now that you've honed your ability to remain steadfast and persistent even when external pressures are immense, how do you cultivate the ultimate resilience? By learning to transform the inevitable setbacks, disappointments, and failures from demotivating roadblocks into powerful fuel that actually accelerates your journey towards guaranteed success. The next chapter will delve into the art of turning setbacks into your greatest source of power. Remember to subscribe to Brainpower Blueprint. Give this video a like and comment with your personal opinions or suggestions for channel development. Chapter 7. Turning Setbacks into Fuel. Imagine a powerful rocket on its ascent, striving to break free from Earth's gravity. Sometimes it might encounter unexpected turbulence or a minor engine malfunction, a setback that could threaten the entire mission. An ordinary system might falter or fail. But a brilliantly designed rocket system has a way to not only correct the issue, but potentially even use the data from that anomaly to optimize its trajectory and burn its fuel more efficiently, emerging with even greater momentum. Similarly, on your path to an unshakable mindset and guaranteed success, setbacks are not just possible, they are inevitable. You've learned to break barriers, rewire self-talk, embrace growth through failure, build grit habits, conquer resistance, and stay strong under pressure. Yet the true alchemy of an unshakable mindset lies not just in enduring setbacks, but in actively transforming their energy from a negative, demotivating force into positive, potent fuel that propels you forward with even greater resolve and strategic insight. The problem many face is that even with improved resilience, setbacks can still lead to periods of discouragement, a dip in motivation, or a questioning of one's path, causing a loss of precious momentum. They might recover, but they don't necessarily harness the setback's inherent power. The transformative solution is to master the adversity conversion engine, a mental framework that allows you to systematically process disappointments, failures, and obstacles in such a way that they not only cease to be demotivating, but actually become direct sources of increased drive, clearer focus, and more effective strategies. This means going beyond simply bouncing back to actively powering up from adversity. The core idea is that within every setback lies a unique form of energy and information that, if skillfully extracted and redirected, can significantly strengthen your persistence and refine your approach, making your unshakable mindset even more formidable. By learning to turn setbacks into fuel, you ensure that nothing is wasted on your journey. Every experience, especially the challenging ones, contributes directly to your forward momentum and ultimate success. The benefits are a radical reduction in the demotivating impact of obstacles, an enhanced ability to find motivation even in disappointment, the development of superior problem-solving skills, and an almost paradoxical increase in determination precisely when things get toughest. It's like the rocket that uses the turbulence data to achieve an even more optimal flight path, turning a potential problem into an advantage. The first crucial component of the adversity conversion engine is to channel the initial emotional energy of a setback into focused, constructive action, the post-setback surge. When a setback occurs, a project fails, a goal is missed, you face rejection, it's natural to feel a surge of emotions: frustration, disappointment, perhaps even anger. Instead of letting these emotions fester into demotivation or self-pity, learn to channel that raw energy into immediate, constructive, and focused effort, ideally related to understanding or addressing the setback itself, or re-engaging with your broader goals with renewed intensity. For example, if a crucial sales pitch is rejected, you might feel a surge of frustration. You could channel this by immediately dissecting what went wrong, or by proactively scheduling 3 more outreach calls with even greater preparation and determination. This surge works because it prevents the negative emotion from becoming stagnant and debilitating. Instead, it converts that emotional energy into forward momentum, often leading to a burst of productivity or insight. It's about immediately redirecting the impact into a productive outlet before it turns inward. Next, actively reframe setbacks as resistance training for your mindset and persistence muscle. Just as lifting weights creates microscopic tears in muscle fibers that then repair and grow back stronger, experiencing and overcoming setbacks provides the resistance necessary to build greater mental and emotional toughness. When you encounter an obstacle or a failure, consciously tell yourself, "This is an opportunity to strengthen my persistence. This is resistance training for my unshakable mindset. Navigating this successfully will make me more resilient for future challenges." This reframing is powerful because it changes your perception of the difficulty. Instead of seeing it as a purely negative event that weakens you, you see it as a challenging workout that is actively making you stronger and more capable. This perspective shift can increase your willingness to engage with the difficulty and extract its full strengthening potential. A core function of the adversity conversion engine is to extract specific, fuelable lessons and strategic insights from every setback. This goes beyond the general learning discussed in Embracing Growth Through Failure. Here, the focus is on finding insights that directly inform and energize your next steps. After a setback, meticulously analyze not just what went wrong, but why, and most importantly, what specific actions or changes in strategy this implies for the future. What did this experience teach you not to do again? What did it reveal about a more effective approach? What new skill or piece of knowledge do you now realize you need to acquire? For instance, if a team project misses a deadline due to unforeseen technical issues, a fuelable lesson isn't just "we need to plan better," but we need to incorporate a dedicated risk assessment phase for technical dependencies in all future project plans and allocate buffer time accordingly. This focus on concrete, actionable takeaways works because it provides clear direction for future efforts, making you feel more competent and in control, and it ensures that the energy of the setback is directly converted into improved future performance. To further fuel your persistence, actively seek inspiration and reinforce your resolve by studying stories of overcoming significant adversity. When you're facing your own setbacks, it can be incredibly motivating to remember that many highly successful individuals and organizations have faced and overcome far greater challenges. Read biographies, watch documentaries, or listen to interviews with people who turned monumental setbacks into their greatest triumphs. Notice their mindset, their strategies, their unwavering persistence. For example, learning about an entrepreneur who rebuilt their business after a devastating failure, or an athlete who came back from a career-threatening injury, can provide both practical ideas and a powerful emotional boost. This works because it provides proof of possibility, reminding you that setbacks are not final and that extraordinary resilience is achievable. It normalizes struggle as part of the success journey and provides a potent antidote to feelings of isolation or hopelessness that can accompany personal disappointments. Finally, consciously use setbacks to clarify and deepen your commitment to your core goals and values. Sometimes a significant setback can force you to reevaluate how much your goals truly mean to you. This can be a powerful clarifying moment. Ask yourself, given this difficulty, how important is this goal to me really? Am I willing to persist through this kind of adversity to achieve it? If the answer is a resounding yes, then the setback, paradoxically, can actually strengthen your resolve and deepen your commitment by forcing you to confront and reaffirm your dedication. It strips away any superficial attachment to the goal and connects you to your deeper, more resilient motivations. For instance, an artist facing harsh criticism of their work might use that setback to either decide this path isn't for them, or if their commitment is deep, to emerge with an even stronger conviction to hone their craft and express their unique vision. This process works because it ensures your persistence is rooted in authentic desire and commitment, making your efforts more focused and powerful after the clarification that adversity provides. Consider a political activist, Kenji, whose campaign for a local environmental initiative suffered a major legislative defeat. The initial feeling was crushing. He channeled his frustration, post-setback surge, into organizing an immediate community meeting to discuss next steps. He reframed the defeat as resistance training. This loss shows us the strength of the opposition and forces us to become even more strategic and united. He extracted fuelable lessons. Our lobbying efforts were not targeted enough, and we underestimated the influence of certain stakeholders. Next time, we need a broader coalition and a more direct public awareness campaign. He drew inspiration from historical civil rights movements that faced far greater setbacks, yet persisted. The defeat forced him to clarify his commitment. This cause is too important to abandon. This just means we have to fight smarter and harder. The setback, processed through his adversity conversion engine, ultimately fueled a more robust, strategic, and persistent campaign that achieved success in the following year. Turning setbacks into fuel is the alchemy of an unshakable mindset. It is the art of taking what seems like a negative, demotivating experience and transforming it into a source of power, clarity, and unwavering resolve. This ensures that your journey towards success is not only persistent, but also anti-fragile. You don't just withstand shocks, you become stronger because of them. This capacity truly distinguishes those who achieve guaranteed success. But how do you weave all these principles, from breaking barriers to converting adversity, into a cohesive, lifelong way of being? Having mastered the art of transforming setbacks into potent fuel for your persistence, how do you now weave all the elements of this unshakable mindset? Your deconstructed mental barriers, your rewired positive self-talk, your embrace of failure, your daily grit habits, your conquest of resistance, your strength under pressure, and your adversity conversion engine into a seamless and enduring way of life that consistently guarantees success and fulfillment. The final chapter will illuminate how to truly live the unshakable mindset. Chapter 8. Living the Unshakable Mindset. Imagine a mighty lighthouse, its foundations sunk deep into solid rock, its structure engineered to withstand the fiercest gales and the most relentless waves. Night after night, storm after storm, its powerful beam cuts through the darkness, guiding ships safely to harbor. This lighthouse, in its unwavering strength and steadfast purpose, is a metaphor for the individual who is truly living an unshakable mindset. Throughout this journey, you have meticulously laid your own foundations, breaking through limiting mental barriers, rewiring your internal dialogue for positivity and persistence, embracing failure as a catalyst for growth, building daily habits of grit, conquering inner resistance, staying strong under immense pressure, and even learning to transform setbacks into fuel for your journey. You now possess the architectural plans and the core building blocks for a truly formidable inner structure. The ultimate aspiration, however, is not merely to have these components in isolation, but to integrate them so completely that they become the very essence of how you live, think, and act, ensuring that your persistence indeed guarantees success, not just in one endeavor, but as a way of life. The problem that can arise, even after mastering these individual principles, is ensuring their holistic and enduring application. Without a conscious commitment to embody this unshakable mindset as your fundamental way of being, there's a subtle risk that it could become a set of tools used only in crises, rather than the pervasive inner strength that defines your everyday existence and consistently propels you towards your highest potential. The transformative solution is to achieve perpetual fortitude integration, a state where the principles and practices of an unshakable mindset are so deeply embedded into your character and daily operations that they function as your natural, almost instinctual response to life's challenges and opportunities. This is about moving from consciously applying the mindset to unconsciously being the mindset. The core idea is that an unshakable mindset is not a final destination, but a continuously evolving state of being. A dynamic equilibrium of strength, resilience, and growth that you actively live and breathe. By making these principles the bedrock of your identity and your approach to all life domains, you create a powerful, self-sustaining system that guarantees not only the achievement of specific goals, but also a life of ongoing growth, profound resilience, and deep, authentic fulfillment. The benefits are a life characterized by unwavering self-belief, the consistent ability to overcome any obstacle, a continuous upward trajectory of personal and professional development, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you possess an inner core that cannot be broken by external circumstances. It's like the lighthouse whose beam is not just occasionally lit, but shines with constant, unwavering brilliance, a beacon of strength and guidance for yourself and often for others too. A foundational element of living the unshakable mindset is an unwavering commitment to continuous self-reinforcement and mindset vigilance. Your unshakable mindset, like a well-honed blade, requires ongoing attention to maintain its edge. This means regularly revisiting and reaffirming the core principles you've learned. Periodically check in with your beliefs. Are any old limiting thoughts trying to creep back in? Is your self-talk consistently supportive of persistence? Are you still embracing challenges as growth opportunities? This vigilance isn't about neurotic self-monitoring, but about a mindful commitment to nurturing the mental landscape you've worked so hard to cultivate. You might incorporate brief daily or weekly reflections on how you've applied your unshakable mindset principles. This continuous self-reinforcement works because it prevents the erosion of your hard-won gains and ensures that your mindset continues to adapt and strengthen in response to new experiences. It's about treating your mental fortitude as a precious asset that requires ongoing care. Actively protract and apply your unshakable mindset principles to new and evolving life challenges beyond your initial goals. An unshakable mindset demonstrates its true power not just in achieving the goals you set when you began this journey, but in its capacity to help you navigate entirely new, unforeseen challenges and opportunities that will inevitably arise throughout your life. Whether it's a career transition, a change in personal circumstances, a global crisis, or the pursuit of a completely new passion, consciously bring your tools of persistence, resilience, growth orientation, and positive self-talk to bear. For example, someone who cultivated an unshakable mindset to build a successful business can then apply that same fortitude to navigating a complex family issue or learning a challenging new skill in a different field. This holistic application works because it demonstrates the universal utility of these core mental principles, solidifying them as your fundamental approach to all of life, rather than just a specific set of problem-solving tools. It ensures your unshakable mindset is a transferable superpower. A profound way to embody and amplify your unshakable mindset is by mentoring others in resilience and persistence, thereby deepening your own mastery. As you live these principles and achieve success through your persistent efforts, you will naturally inspire others. Taking this a step further by actively sharing your insights, strategies, and encouragement with those who are struggling to cultivate their own resilience can be incredibly powerful. When you articulate the principles of an unshakable mindset to help someone else, you clarify and reinforce them for yourself. Explaining how you overcame a particular barrier or reframed a failure solidifies that learning within you. Moreover, witnessing the positive impact of these principles on others provides immense validation and a deep sense of purpose. This practice works because teaching is one of the most effective ways to master any subject, and contributing to the empowerment of others creates a profoundly positive feedback loop that strengthens your own unshakable core. Create and consistently refer to your personal unshakable code or manifesto. This involves distilling the most important principles and commitments of your unshakable mindset into a concise personal document that you can review regularly, especially during times of difficulty or decision-making. This code might include your core empowering beliefs, your go-to strategies for handling setbacks, your key persistence priming affirmations, and your commitment to lifelong growth. For example, a personal code might include statements like, "I view challenges as opportunities to prove my strength. My persistence is greater than any obstacle. I learn and grow from every experience. My inner voice is my greatest ally." Having such a personal manifesto works because it serves as a powerful, readily accessible reminder of your core principles, helping you to stay aligned with your unshakable mindset, even when you feel overwhelmed or tempted to revert to old patterns. It's your personal compass for navigating life with fortitude. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, find deep joy and fulfillment in the process of persistent striving, overcoming, and becoming. Living the unshakable mindset is not about a grim, joyless struggle. It's about embracing the journey of growth with a sense of adventure, curiosity, and even playfulness. Celebrate not just the big victories, but the small acts of courage, the moments of resilience, the insights gained from failures, and the sheer satisfaction of knowing you are consistently pushing your boundaries and becoming a stronger, more capable version of yourself. Cultivate gratitude for your capacity to persist and learn. This joyful engagement works because it makes the path of continuous effort sustainable and deeply rewarding in its own right, regardless of specific external achievements. The process itself becomes a source of profound satisfaction, making your unshakable mindset not just a tool for success, but a pathway to a rich and meaningful life. Consider Dr. Alistair Finch, a renowned explorer who has faced incredible dangers and setbacks in his career. His unshakable mindset is legendary. He continuously reinforces it by journaling about his expeditions, focusing on lessons learned and moments of resilience. He applies the same persistence that saw him through polar expeditions to advocating for environmental causes. He mentors young explorers, sharing not just technical skills, but the mental fortitude required. His unshakable code emphasizes adaptability, courage in the face of the unknown, and learning from every misstep. He speaks often of the profound joy he finds not just in reaching remote destinations, but in the very act of striving, problem-solving, and pushing the limits of human endurance. His life is a testament to how an unshakable mindset, consistently lived, leads to extraordinary achievements and a deeply impactful existence. Living the unshakable mindset is the ultimate expression of human potential fully realized. It is the culmination of transforming your inner world so profoundly that your outer world cannot help but reflect your strength, your resilience, and your unwavering commitment to growth and success. This is not about achieving a static state of perfection, but about embodying a dynamic, ever-evolving capacity to meet any challenge, seize any opportunity, and live a life of extraordinary purpose and achievement, knowing that your inner fortitude is indeed unshakable, and your success, therefore, guaranteed. This journey through Unshakable Mindset has been about forging an inner core of indomitable persistence. We've explored breaking the mental barriers that hold you back, rewiring your self-talk to become a powerful ally, and radically transforming your relationship with failure into a catalyst for growth. You've learned to build daily habits that cultivate grit, to conquer inner resistance with clear rituals, to remain steadfast under pressure, and to alchemize setbacks into potent fuel for your ambitions. The essence of this entire process is the understanding that an unshakable mindset is not a gift bestowed upon a lucky few, but a fortress built brick by brick through conscious effort and unwavering commitment. The principles you've mastered are your tools to ensure that your pursuit of success is not a matter of chance, but a guaranteed outcome of your cultivated persistence. Thank you for investing your valuable time and attention in Unshakable Mindset, cultivating persistence that guarantees success. It is our deepest hope that this exploration has armed you with both the profound understanding and the practical strategies necessary to build an inner resolve that can withstand any challenge and propel you towards your most significant achievements. Remember, the cultivation of an unshakable mindset is a lifelong, empowering endeavor, and every principle you apply strengthens your capacity to achieve lasting success. We sincerely appreciate you sharing this journey with us. If this audiobook has fortified your spirit or provided you with actionable tools, please consider showing your support by liking this video, sharing your insights or experiences in the comments section below, and subscribing to Brainpower Blueprint for more content designed to help you build an unconquerable mind and achieve your dreams. Your engagement is vital to our work.